All right, let's get right into it and break down a truly monumental character, the modern Samson. We're talking about a being who feels like he's etched in iron and lightning. And to really get him, you have to understand a pretty radical philosophy of power and self-creation.
I mean, just listen to how the source material introduces him. Wow. You immediately get this image of just immense, unbelievable strength, right? But at the same time, there's this profound connection to a fading world, this cosmic weight on his shoulders. This tells you right away, we're not just talking about a strong man. This is a figure of mythic scale.
So, at his absolute core, the modern Samson is a bridge. He's not one thing or the other. He is the living, breathing synthesis of two powerful and you could say opposing realms. He's the connection point between the celestial and the chthonic.
Now, you might be wondering, what in the world does chthonic mean? Well, it refers to those primal, earthy, almost underworldly forces. So think about Samson as this incredible fusion of the cold, hard logic of the stars and this ancient, thundering magic from the deep earth. It's like pure reason getting slammed together with raw gut instinct. And this whole idea of duality, it leads us directly into the most critical part of his entire story, his transformation. And look, this isn't your average character arc. This is a radical journey of self-creation, a passage through two completely different lives, or as the text calls them, births. So in his first life, you could say he was passive, a child of the desert, just completely shaped by the laws of his ancestors and what the source calls the gravity of a dead world. He was a product of his environment. But his second birth? Whoa. That was a total act of will, a conscious, deliberate choice to forge a brand new existence for himself. And this second birth, it wasn't random. It followed a really clear path. First, he has to find the catalyst. He seeks out that weary old wizard at the Rock of Eternity. Second, and this is so important, he gives his affirmation. He doesn't perform some bloody sacrifice. He just speaks a yes to his own power. And finally, you get the transformation. The living lightning comes down, not to destroy him, but to recognize him, to validate that choice he made. And this is the absolute key takeaway. His power wasn't a gift. It wasn't handed to him by some wizard or some god. It was an awakening, an affirmation of a strength that was already inside him, just waiting to be claimed. And that, right there, changes everything. You see, that single act of willed resurrection, it completely separates him from that tragic figure whose name he carries. He is not the Samson of the old myths. And to really get him, we have to put him side by side with his namesake and see how one became a master while the other ended up a victim. So it really all boils down to this one question, doesn't it? What's the fundamental difference between mastering your power and becoming a victim of it? Okay, just look at how clearly this chart lays out the difference. For the old Samson, strength was in his hair, an external thing, a weakness that could be cut away. But for the modern Samson, it's his spirit. It's internal. You can't take it from him. The old hero was literally blinded, while our Samson's gaze is a weapon that burns away illusions. And the bottom line? The original Samson was destroyed by his strength. Our Samson masters it completely as an expression of his will. And here's the secret sauce for how he pulls that off. He isn't just a brute. He fuses the wisdom of Solomon, which lets him see through all the deception, with the raw, world-carrying strength of Hercules. It's that combination, that synthesis of insight and might that truly makes him a master. And this whole journey of mastery, it's all building to a climax. He becomes the living, breathing embodiment of a powerful and, honestly, a pretty radical philosophical idea from Zarathustra, the Overman. So the Overman, or Übermensch, is basically a being who has gone beyond the old human limitations. But it's not just about being super strong. It's about a complete reinvention of values. This being doesn't follow the rules or accept a morality that's handed to him. He creates his own meaning, his own good and evil, from the sheer force of his will. It's a really challenging idea, and Samson is its ultimate expression. So the source material breaks down his status as the Overman into three essential characteristics. First, he's a master of gods. Second, he possesses internalized power. And third, he is the embodiment of resurrection. Okay, let's unpack what each of these really means. First up, master of gods. I mean,
Think about how wild that is. This is a complete reversal of how we normally think. He's not praying to some god up in the sky. No, he is the vessel that grounds cosmic power, that makes it real. The divine becomes human through him, and at the same time, humanity can become more than human through him. He is the bridge.
Second, he has internalized his power. This is like the final stage of alchemy. That living lightning that transformed him, it's not some outside force anymore. He's consumed it, he's integrated it, until you can't tell the difference between it and his own will. The storm that was outside is now inside him, and he is the one in control.
And finally, he embodies resurrection. And this is so huge. He doesn't need a symbol for salvation in the afterlife. Why? Because his second birth was the resurrection. It's a redemption that he achieved not through death and suffering, but through a powerful, triumphant yes to life, right here, right now.
So when you put it all together, you see that the modern Samson isn't just a character in a story. He is a philosophy made real, a philosophy made flesh. Every single part of him is a living argument for a totally different way of existing. He is a concept etched in iron and lightning.
He really stands as a testament to a will that just refuses to be defined by its past, by its circumstances, or even by the gods. Forging your own divinity in his example isn't about arrogance. It's about taking ultimate responsibility for your own existence, for your own meaning. It's about transforming yourself from something that is acted upon into a force that acts.
And that really leaves us with the core question this whole character forces us to ask. The modern Samson presents this monumental idea that our greatest power isn't some gift from the outside, but an affirmation of the strength we already have. So forget the myths and philosophy for a second. What does it actually mean to stop waiting for the lightning and decide to become it yourself?